Welcome back to Indian Trace. The pieces you see right here, upon request, are from the Falcon and the Vulture. What I often verbally recognize as Site 5E. Site 5E has many, many other areas. Rob, you know Site 5E. That's where we were in majority. And so when we're looking at these pieces, this is, if you still even have the highly confidential paperwork, talking to you, Rob, this is from the Falcon and the Vulture. And the request came from a different individual out there who's interested in just seeing how the context of the pieces that I find off different sites. This is not, of course, everything. Usually when I show the display pieces that I have found off a site, it might embody 8 times as many as you see right here. But just a fantastic group. This is the reason when you're looking at this, if I can get a good view of it and not take too long with this, but I want to put up a couple display videos and the one before this, just because there's some incredible things going on, incredible news to be had if you're interested in knowing what's happening in your life and in the world, knowing the truth. I love to seek it out. I love to know. I don't want to be ignorant enough just to hear something and not know that somebody's lying or they're misconstruing the truth. But we'll leave it at that. So what we're looking at is the heart, I guess, the masters of the Falcon and the Vulture. Good stuff. Let's take a look at this and go right around. And unbelievable how it's developed. Now, I've only known the Falcon and the Vulture for 3 years. That's it. And just discovered them. And, for the majority of all my sites, look at this, Guilford. No one has given me insight. No one has told me where to go. No one has told me that it could produce artifacts. It was trial and error. Somebody asked me a question about that. And, I guess that's part of the rewarding parts of it, is that, a lot of the sites and a lot of the places through the woodlands and cross streams and whatever is sacred knowledge. There is usually in the world maybe one or two other people that have that knowledge. In some places, as you guys could all say, it's much more well known. But for me, it's very rare, especially in the Falcon, let alone the Vulture that I have never really even seen anybody there, period. Picked up a footprint here or there, which does not include the footprints of people going to glean the potatoes or what have you. Anyway, with that said, the Falcon and the Vulture put out some great stuff. This is a favorite point for me in variated material. People ask if what they're seeing is fossils and what have you. This variated material does often carry fossils. And here's a perspective for you. If indeed this carries fossils, how long did it take in this earth to make that fossil? And then how long ago did the people take the core stone and make these points? Everything I learn about geology and science tends to stretch out the timeline of God's plan for man on this earth and for life on this earth. The timeline continues to shift when you know that stuff. I mean, fossils take a huge amount of pressure and time. Undisturbed organic matter becoming rock and stone. And then the whole eons and eons of time that the North American Indians lived, it'll blow your mind when you think about it. Look at this great, maybe Rowan found the Vulture. Unique piece. Unique stone from the Vulture. Of course, you're going to come across the Rio Lights that we're going to see. And there's a Rio Light mixture, but it's just a hardy, great, strong point with a relief on the back edge there. That is a relief. You see if I can hold it at an angle in the light to give you that relief. Made very well by a master. It's relieved right there so you could haft it in. like points like that. So just quietly here, I'm able to feature and service somebody's request for seeing these sites. Because the Falcon and the Vulture, you can see why I'm going to go back and why they're famous sites. For me, personally famous, I guess. Maybe famous here, who knows. Look at these pieces in the middle. Oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. Don't know where to end. Let's go over to the big side. And on camera it might not seem big, but check this piece out. Absolutely great point. When I first discovered the Falcon, which might be 2 years ago, look at the relief on the back of this quartz. It's ground smooth, and they just made it at an angle because they had to. Can't do everything perfect, not at all. They weren't looking to. They were looking to make it work perfectly. Now the point side of it, as we've often seen, and I've seen on here, is absolutely impeccable. Absolutely impeccable for quartz. It's a master's piece. And then they, of course, relieve the back and ground it. Craziness, right? That was a good find. This here, of course, the Vulture. The reason I call it the Vulture is because there was a day there, and there was, I guess, a vulture and his buddy, two of them. I mean, within 3-4 foot of me, came down out of the sky at me, and they were close. I'm talking 3 or 4 foot, and those birds are 6.5, 7 foot wingspan, turkey vultures. And I guess they just weren't happy with me. But it was a new site, and I said, there you go. I guess I'm going to have to name this place the Vulture. Great base here, great point. I found this point you're looking at on the exact same day that I found this point. Craziness. Crazy piece of rhyolite. Seen before. Never found anything like it. People say once in a lifetime find, I guess so. But I have no doubt that I'll find something else like it. I just don't doubt those things. These places are full of artifacts. Ancient Indian life was there, and it's there. It's in the ground. Unbelievable piece, though, isn't it? For a blade, everybody calls them blades. No doubt. That is Vulture. Great Guildford here, where they have left, and it's been seen. Some of these have been seen, but those of you who, I know the specific person who requested these has not. That's some great cortex left on the stone untouched, whatever way it came out, and then they just worked around it and worked for what they needed. Look at the cortex left there. Something else, isn't it? Just had a mind to bring the edge there and to make this thing work. And they were ready to go. Needed to get some food. Just the way it worked. Now we got some inside, and then we'll be finishing up. Unbelievable pieces. Unbelievable pieces. Look at these pieces down the bottom. I mean, G10 quartz comes off the Falcon and the Vulture. This piece of quartz actually is, I mean, it's all translucent. It's greenish, sort of jade type. Don't know if it's focus is coming in. But you get the point. That's an incredible piece. And of course, vein quartz, impeccable. I mean, hands down, you're like, oh, I'd go there too. This stuff is there. This stuff is there. This piece, I'll never forget it, is about the same spot that those vultures came down on me. They didn't touch me. Now, I've been attacked by owls too. I got hit in the back of the head and clawed, latched on by the talons of a barn owl once. And those things, I mean, those are 5 foot wingspans as it is of big birds. And she hit me and locked in and cut back of my neck. But boy, I could tell you some stories about wildlife. Great piece right there. Fantastic point. Now, as we finish up, look at these pieces up top. Sugar quartz. Sugar quartz. They had a supply of sugar quartz in some measure. The Vulture and Falcon. Look at those two pieces. I mean to tell you, right? And of course, rhyolite. A core. Could be 2 different errors. Could be the separation of hundreds of years, let alone 1,000 years of these pieces, such as a piece like that, and a piece like that. Great piece right there. In the middle, the finish. Great scraper out of quartz. All the edges are worked. Love scrapers like that. And of course, many people who absolutely love drills. So, in perspective, the Falcon and the Vulture. I mean, that's enough right there to make you for sure that you're going to go back there next time there's a possibility of finding something, right? Appreciate you tuning in to Indian Trace, everybody. Hope you find out there.